Hey there, folks. I'm Dr. Emily Carson, and over the past 15 years of practicing urology here in Canada, I've seen thousands of men walk through my clinic doors with the same frustrating complaint. They're tired, they're uncomfortable, and they're spending half the night running to the bathroom. Sound familiar? Let me tell you about George. He came to see me last winter, a 67-year-old gentleman from right here in Toronto. Great guy, retired teacher, loved his morning coffee at Tim Hortons with his buddies. But George was miserable. He was getting up 5, sometimes 6 times every night to urinate. His wife was worried, he was exhausted, and honestly, he was scared. When we sat down and reviewed his daily routine, I asked him a simple question. George, what do you drink in a typical day? And what he told me changed everything. 4 cups of coffee throughout the day, a couple of sodas with lunch, a beer or 2 watching the Leafs game at night. And George looked at me and said, Doc, are you telling me my drinks are making my prostate worse? The answer was yes. And today I'm going to share with you exactly what I told George, because chances are what you're drinking every single day could be silently increasing your prostate size by up to 80%. But here's the good news. You have the power to change this starting right now. Now, before we dive in, let me be real with you for a second. I know some of you watching this are thinking, great, another doctor telling me to give up everything I enjoy. And I get it. At 70, 80 years old, life's pleasures matter. So let me be clear right from the start. This isn't about perfection. This isn't about eliminating every single thing you love. This is about understanding what's happening in your body and making smart swaps that actually work. So here's what we're going to cover today. First, I'll explain quickly what's happening with your prostate and why it matters. Then we'll go through the 6 most common drinks that are making things worse. And most importantly, I'll give you practical alternatives that don't taste like cardboard, eh? Because I'm Canadian and we believe in being straightforward and helpful, not preachy. Before we get started, do me a favor and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. I love hearing from people all over the world who are taking charge of their health. All right, let's talk about your prostate for just a minute, and I promise I'll keep this simple. Your prostate is a small gland, about the size of a walnut, that sits right below your bladder. Its job is to produce fluid for your reproductive system. As you get older, it's completely normal for your prostate to grow larger. We call this benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH for short. Now, when your prostate enlarges, it starts pressing on your urethra. That's the tube that carries urine out of your body. And that pressure causes all those frustrating symptoms you might be experiencing. Frequent urination, especially at night, a weak stream, that feeling like you can never fully empty your bladder, and sometimes even pain or discomfort. Here's what a lot of guys don't realize. What you drink can either help reduce inflammation and keep things manageable, or it can irritate your bladder and prostate, making everything significantly worse. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. The 6 drinks that could be increasing your prostate size and what you can drink instead. Number 1, coffee. And I know, I can already hear the groans. Let me address this right away because this is the question I get asked most often. Dr. Carson, is it the coffee itself or the caffeine? Great question. The main culprit here is caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant that irritates your bladder lining. It makes your bladder more sensitive, which means you feel the urge to urinate more frequently. It also acts as a diuretic, making you produce more urine. And here's the kicker. Caffeine can directly irritate the prostate tissue itself, increasing inflammation in that whole pelvic region. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dark roast or light roast doesn't matter, eh? The roasting process doesn't significantly reduce caffeine content. And that fancy espresso? It actually has less caffeine per serving than a regular cup of drip coffee, but most people don't stop at 1 espresso. So what about decaf? This is the big question everyone asks. Yes, decaffeinated coffee is a much better option if you absolutely need your morning cup. Decaf still has a small amount of caffeine, usually under 10 milligrams per cup compared to 95 milligrams in regular coffee, but that's a massive reduction. If you're drinking decaf and not experiencing worsening symptoms, you're probably fine to continue. Here's my practical advice. If you're currently drinking 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day, don't quit cold turkey. You'll get terrible headaches, trust me. Instead, cut back gradually. Go from 5 cups to 3, then to 2. Switch your afternoon coffee to decaf. And always drink a full glass of water after your morning coffee. That helps dilute the irritating effects. Better alternatives? Try chicory root coffee. It's caffeine-free, has a similar taste, and it's actually good for you. Or try a very weak green tea, which has about a quarter of the caffeine of coffee and comes with anti-inflammatory benefits. Number 2, sodas and soft drinks. Oh boy, these are trouble. I see this constantly, especially with guys who've worked physical jobs their whole lives. You get thirsty during the day, you grab a Coke or a Pepsi, and you think you're hydrating. But you're actually making things worse on 2 fronts. First, the carbonation. Those bubbles, they irritate your bladder lining directly. It's like pouring fizzy water on an open wound. Your bladder becomes more sensitive, more reactive, and you end up needing to go more frequently. Second, the sugar. Most regular sodas contain about 40 grams of sugar per can. That's 10 teaspoons of sugar, folks. And sugar causes inflammation throughout your entire body, including your prostate. Inflammation makes swelling worse. Swelling increases pressure. Pressure causes pain and urinary problems. It's a vicious cycle. And before you say, I'll just switch to diet soda, hold on. Artificial sweeteners might not have sugar, but they still irritate your bladder. Some studies suggest artificial sweeteners can actually make overactive bladder symptoms worse. What should you drink instead? Plain water with a squeeze of fresh lemon. If you miss the bubbles, try still water infused with cucumber and mint. It's refreshing, it tastes great, and your bladder will thank you. Number 3, alcohol. And I hate being the bearer of bad news here, especially for those of you who enjoy a cold beer after shoveling snow or a glass of wine with dinner. But alcohol is one of the worst offenders when it comes to prostate health. Alcohol dehydrates you, which concentrates your urine and makes it more irritating to your bladder. It also causes inflammation throughout your body. Many of my patients tell me that when they have even 1 beer, they're up multiple times that night. One gentleman told me, "Doc, I had 2 beers watching the hockey game and I didn't sleep at all. I was up every 45 minutes." The science backs this up. Alcohol causes blood vessels to expand, including those in your prostate. This increases swelling and pressure almost immediately. Some guys notice symptoms within an hour of drinking. Now, I'm not saying you can never have a drink again, but if you're experiencing significant prostate symptoms, I strongly recommend cutting out alcohol completely for at least 3 weeks and seeing how you feel. Most guys notice a dramatic improvement. Then, if you want to reintroduce it, do so very sparingly. Maybe 1 drink on a special occasion and always earlier in the day, never right before bed. Number 4, energy drinks. This one's usually more for younger guys, but I've seen plenty of men in their 50s and 60s reaching for these, especially if they're still working demanding jobs. Energy drinks are like a triple threat: massive amounts of caffeine, often 200 milligrams or more per can, tons of sugar and artificial additives that irritate your bladder. It's basically everything we've already talked about, combined into 1 can. Your prostate doesn't stand a chance. If you're drinking energy drinks to stay awake during the day, that's actually a sign of a bigger problem. You're not getting enough quality sleep, probably because you're up all night urinating. It's a vicious cycle. The solution isn't more caffeine, it's addressing your prostate health so you can sleep properly. Number 5, processed fruit juices. Now, this one surprises people. But Dr. Carson, they say, isn't fruit juice healthy? Not really, no. Store-bought fruit juice is essentially liquid sugar with a bit of vitamin C. An 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 24 grams of sugar. That's only slightly less than a Coke. Plus, most commercial juices are highly acidic, which irritates your bladder lining. And they lack the fiber that whole fruit contains, which means all that sugar hits your bloodstream quickly, causing inflammation spikes. If you love fruit, eat whole fruit instead. An orange gives you fiber, vitamins, and much less sugar impact. Or make your own fresh squeezed juice and dilute it with water about half and half. Number 6, sparkling water. I know, you thought sparkling water was safe because it doesn't have sugar or caffeine. And it's certainly better than soda, don't get me wrong, but those bubbles are still carbonation, and carbonation still irritates your bladder. If you're drinking sparkling water occasionally, you're probably fine. But if you're downing several bottles a day, thinking it's just like regular water, you might be making your symptoms worse without realizing it. The solution here is easy. Easy. Switch to still water. If plain water bores you, I get it. Add some natural flavor with cucumber slices, a bit of fresh lemon, some mint leaves, or frozen berries. Let it infuse in your fridge overnight. It's delicious, refreshing, and your bladder won't complain. So, let's recap quickly. The 6 drinks to minimize or avoid: coffee with high caffeine, sodas, alcohol, energy drinks, processed fruit juice, and excessive sparkling water. The pattern here is clear. Caffeine irritates, carbonation irritates, sugar causes inflammation, and alcohol makes everything worse. Now here's the part you actually want to know. What should you drink instead? First and foremost, plain water. I know it sounds boring, but proper hydration with regular water is the single best thing you can do for your prostate. Aim for about 8 glasses a day, spread throughout the day. Don't chug 4 glasses right before bed, obviously. Taper off your fluid intake about 2 hours before bedtime. Second, herbal teas. And I mean truly herbal, caffeine-free teas like chamomile, peppermint, or rooibos. These can be soothing, they have anti-inflammatory properties, and they don't irritate your bladder. Many of my patients tell me a warm cup of chamomile tea in the evening helps them relax without disrupting their sleep. Third, fresh lemon water. Squeeze half a lemon into a glass of water every morning. It's alkalizing despite being acidic, it's refreshing, and it helps reduce inflammation. Plus, it makes you feel like you're actually drinking something interesting, not just plain water all day. Fourth, coconut water. Get the unsweetened kind, not the stuff loaded with added sugar. Natural coconut water has electrolytes and is gentle on your bladder. It's especially good if you're active or if it's summer and you need something refreshing. Fifth, very weak green tea. If you absolutely need some caffeine, green tea has about a quarter of the caffeine of coffee, plus it contains compounds that actually reduce inflammation. Make it weak, don't steep it too long, and limit yourself to 1 cup in the morning. Now, I want to address something important because I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Dr. Carson, I'm 75 years old. I've been drinking coffee my whole life. I enjoy my beer in the evening. Life is short. Why should I give up everything I love? And you know what? I completely understand that perspective. I truly do. So let me be very clear about something. This is not about perfection. This is not about living like a monk. This is about being smart and finding your personal balance. If you're drinking 5 cups of coffee a day and you're up 6 times a night, cutting back to 1 cup of regular coffee in the morning and switching to decaf for your afternoon cup might be enough to dramatically improve your symptoms. You don't necessarily have to quit completely. If you have an occasional beer watching the game and you don't notice worse symptoms afterward, maybe that's fine for you. But if you're drinking beer daily and suffering, then yes, it needs to go. The key is this. Pay attention to your body. Start a simple journal for 1 week. Write down everything you drink and how you feel that night. How many times did you get up? How was your stream? How did you feel the next day? After 1 week, you'll see clear patterns. Let me tell you what happened with George, the gentleman I mentioned at the beginning. After our conversation, he made some changes. He cut his coffee from 4 cups to 1 regular cup at breakfast and switched to decaf after that. He replaced his afternoon sodas with lemon water. He cut out his nightly beer completely for 3 weeks. Within 2 weeks, George went from getting up 6 times a night to getting up twice. Within a month, he was down to once per night, sometimes sleeping straight through. His energy improved, his mood improved, his wife was thrilled. And George told me, Doc, I feel 20 years younger. Here's the thing. George didn't become perfect. He still has his morning coffee. On special occasions, he'll have a beer. But he understands now how these drinks affect him and he makes informed choices. That's all I'm asking you to do. So, here's your action plan. Don't try to change everything at once. That's overwhelming and you won't stick with it. Instead, pick one thing to change this week. Maybe it's cutting your coffee in half. Maybe it's swapping soda for lemon water. Just one thing. Next week, add a second change. The week after, a third. Within a month, you'll have made significant improvements without feeling deprived or miserable. And I promise you, you will notice a difference. I also want to mention something about overall prostate health. While changing your drinks is crucial, it's not the only factor. Regular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, eating more vegetables and less processed food, and managing stress all play important roles. Think of drink choices as one piece of a larger puzzle. And of course, if you're experiencing severe symptoms, bloody urine, significant pain, or complete inability to urinate, you need to see a doctor immediately. Don't mess around with serious symptoms. These drinks changes are preventive and helpful for mild to moderate symptoms, but they're not a replacement for proper medical care when it's needed. I hope this information helps you understand what's happening with your prostate and gives you practical tools to feel better. Remember, small changes lead to big results. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent and pay attention to what your body is telling you. If you found this helpful, please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear this information. Maybe it's your brother, your buddy from the gym, your neighbor, or your dad. Prostate health is something we don't talk about enough, but it affects millions of men, and simple changes really can make a huge difference. Drop a comment below and let me know. Which drink are you going to tackle first? And if you have questions, ask them. I read the comments, and I'll answer the most common questions in future videos. Also, if you want more information about prostate health, urinary issues, or men's health in general, subscribe to this channel. I post new videos every week with practical, straightforward advice. No nonsense, no fancy medical jargon, just real information you can actually use. Thanks for watching, folks. Take care of yourselves, eh? And remember, your health is worth paying attention to. You've got this.